You're listening
You're listening
to another episode
of the FreshTakes
podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, what is up? What is up? It's another episode of Tank's Thoughts, and it is a Friday. It might be Friday evening, Friday night, or even a different day that you're listening to this. But you know what? It's my Friday evening, and I just can't wait. I can't wait to get into this episode. Don't forget, you can always follow us on YouTube to watch the video, or you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts. Other than that, let's get right into it. My top 10 for Tank's Thoughts this week is going to be a favorite team of mine. We've been doing a tradition of my favorite teams. This week is none other than the Dallas Cowboys. That's right, Dallas Cowboys. My top 10 favorite players that I've gotten to watch. So I started watching NFL roughly around 95, 96, and became – so before that, let me give you a little backstory. I was a Steelers fan due to my dad being a Steelers fan. Then I went over to my mom went over to a friend's house, and they were watching a football game, and they asked me who my favorite team is. I told them, of course, the Steelers, and they said, well, why? And I told them, he's my dad. So they're like, you need your own team. You need, and if that was what I wanted to become a Steelers fan, they were going to be okay with it. But I just saw the Dallas Cowboys. I forget the team they were playing. And I was like, well, who's this team? They're like, Dallas Cowboys. And I was like, well, that's my team. So I became a Dallas Cowboys fan because of that. And I have stuck with them through thick and thin. I even have Dallas Cowboys logo tattooed on me because that's how dedicated I am to the team. No matter what, they can go 0-16. Heck, they can even go 0-32 for 2 seasons back-to-back, and I'd still be representing the Dallas Cowboys because that's my favorite team. So I think last week, I'm pretty sure I did it last week. I didn't do my honorable mentions until I got up to the number 2 spot, and then I did my honorable mentions and shot it over to the 2 boys, Pat and Tim, to see what their honorable mentions were. But so we're gonna get right into it. Number 10. Number 10, none other than a quarterback that I grew up on. People don't like him. I'm not saying he was my favorite player, but I did like him, even though he never really got us anywhere. But it is Tony Romo. That is right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Number 10 is Tony Romo. Number 9. Number 9 is a current player on the team. He's a wide receiver, and CeeDee Lamb. Number 9 is CeeDee Lamb. I like his enthusiasm. I like his spirit. I like everything he's done and contributed to the team. He's definitely a threat weapon that we could use, and we are using. So shout out to CeeDee Lamb for number 9 spot. We'll get right into it. Number 8. Number 8 is another current player. I enjoyed watching his college years. I enjoyed watching the backstory on draft day that he said he wanted the Dallas Cowboys. And, we drafted him. So at number 8 is none other than number 11, Michah Parsons. Congratulations, Michael, for making the top 10 list at number 8 spot. Number 7. Number 7 is he's now an analysis for the NFL, talks about it. But I enjoyed watching him play. I remember when I was in high school, my friend had a PSP, and so days I didn't want to work, he would let me play the PSP. He would take all the notes in class, and then I would copy his notes. And vice versa. If he wanted to play, I'd take the notes down or do whatever, and then he would copy them off of me. And I remember I threw a touchdown to him, and I was like super excited. I yelled out his name, and it ended up getting busted. And me and my friend were never able to play the PSP ever again. But So number 7 is none other than Keyshawn Johnson. Congratulations for making the top 10 at number 7. Number 6. Number 6 is none other than I feel not the greatest. One of the I don't. He's not the greatest linebacker, but he was a threat that we had and we used, and I enjoyed having him on the team. Um, Started getting to the end of his career, and I could tell it was taking a toll on his body. But number 6 is Sean Lee. Yes, Sean Lee at number 6. Like I said, I enjoyed watching him. He was a hard hitting, so I enjoyed it. Number 5. Number 5 is another wide receiver. I grew up watching him a little bit. And again, he was another weapon that we used really well. Enjoyed watching him in his career. But number 5 goes out to Michael Irving. Now that he's an analysis, talking about the game, it shows to me it shows that he still has a love for the passion and the love for the game, and he's willing to talk about it. So yeah, that was at number 5, Michael Irvin. Number 4. Number 4, so he was a running back in the day, and I enjoyed. I actually remember the game that he broke the all-time rushing record, and so I mean that gives it away. It's number 4 was or is Emmit Smith, and I enjoyed watching him. I wish I had. I remember having a jersey when I was a kid of his. Of course, growing up, you can't really fit in the things that you back in the day. So I'd like to one day I will own a jersey of his. Just don't know when, but I will own an Emmett Smith jersey. Number 3. Number 3, believe it or not, I think is my guaranteed all-time running back because he was willing to put his head down and take and plow through you. He did not care. He was willing to gain that extra yardage instead of going out of bounds, which I think that did hurt him a little bit. But I have his jersey. I will say that. So number 3 is none other than Marion Barber. Rest in peace, Marion Barber. But let me tell you, I liked him. I enjoyed him. Good watching him. So number 2. Number 2. How do I put it? Prime time, which gives it away. He's now a coach, but for his own children. But number 2 is Deion Sanders. I enjoyed him. Enjoyed watching him play. So that was awesome. What can I say about him? I mean, I don't want to say he was the best out there, but he is one of the GOATs. I will say that. I enjoyed watching it. So yeah, do your thing up there in the college town. Maybe one day we'll see you on the coaching staff of the Dallas Cowboys. I'd like that. Not gonna lie. So we'll get into my honorable mentions right after I go through 2 through 10, and then we'll shoot it over to Pat and Tim to see what their honorable mentions are. Number 10 was Tony Romo. Number 9 was none other than CeeDee Lamb. Number 8 was Michael Parsons. Number 7 was Keyshawn Johnson. Number 6 was Sean Lee. Number 5 was Michael Irvin. Number 4 was Emmett Smith. Number 3 was Marion Barber. Number 2 was Deion Sanders. Now, for my honorable mentions. I'm going to go ahead and get my first honorable mention out of the way. It's Roy Williams, safety, number 31. I had his jersey. It was hard not to put him on my list, but at the same time, I feel like there's other players that were, of course, the top 10 better than him. But, Roy Williams, I enjoyed him. I had his jersey. Loved it. Loved him. So, and we have Ezekiel Elliott, who's now a Patriots running back. I enjoyed him. And I enjoy watching Dak Prescott, even though last season he did throw tying the league's most interceptions, and he played what 5 less games than everybody, and he was still leading. He still led the league. So I enjoy watching him, and can't wait to see if he. I'm not saying he's the answer. I'm not saying he's the greatest, but uh, he is enjoyable to watch. Those are my honorable mentions. Pat, Tim, what's your honorable mentions? And then from there, we'll get right into my number one. Take it away, boys.
So here we go again with Tank giving us crappy teams to have to do honorable mentions for. But luckily, my dad was a Cowboys fan, so I'll do this in honor of him. Number 3, I'm throwing out somebody you guys probably don't even know, but LSU great cornerback Morris Claiborne. Loved him when he was at LSU. Wish he would have been more utilized at Dallas. Number 2, one of my all-time favorite college players, because my brother and my father were Penn State fans. So when I would play NCAA and I used Penn State, I used them all the time. Sean Lee. And at number 1, I got to put my dad's all-time favorite Cowboys player. And you guys know I am a big tight end guy. So at number 1, we got Jason Witten.
Well, I hinted at it last week. You might as well make me pick from the Dallas Cowboys, and you're making me do that. So, honorable mentions: Dallas Cowboys. Tony Romo, surprisingly, like it or not, thought he was great. Let's go, Jason Witten, all-time great, can't hate him. And Tank, you'll like this one, Demarcus Ware.
All right, boys. Thank you for giving me your honorable mentions. And I know that's going to be it was a tough one because it is the Dallas Cowboys. Who knows? I might jump into top 10 players of all NFL teams, all baseball teams, all basketball teams. I don't know. We'll see. We'll get from there. But other than that, we'll get right into my number 1. Can I get a drum roll, please? Number 1. My all-time favorite Dallas Cowboys player. In fact, I know my 2 co-hosts know who that is. That is Demarcus Ware. If you pay attention to the beginning of the introduction of the FreshTakes podcast, you will see that we all have like a jersey number beside our name. And the reason I have 94 is because Demarcus Ware. Dude is a stud. Dude is a phenomenal man. Yeah, I love Demarcus Ware. I will always bat for the guy. Did great. He was just perfect. So thank you, Demarcus Ware, and thank you to the Dallas Cowboys for giving me a team to really enjoy and talk about. And I can't wait to possibly see where we go from the road down through the 2023-2024 season. We did just come off with beating the crap out of the New York Giants again. This score, so the first one was 40-0. This one was 49-17. We allowed them to score 17 points, but other than that, you know what? I'll take the dominating wins. But yeah, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, you can follow us on the good old X, FKA, AKA F. I don't remember all of them. I have to go back and watch the videos again. I have to write them down again. But Twitter, you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and of course the good old YouTube. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, get the notifications when we drop new videos, when we drop and ask for help with questionnaires or anything. If you even want to just give us a shout out, or heck, you might even have a disagreement about my top 10. Put it in the comments. I'd like to hear it from you. Don't forget, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcast. And once we hit those 100 subscribers on the good old YouTube, one of our lucky subscribers will win a prize from yours truly, Hank, Tim, and Pat from the Fresh Takes podcast. Until then, I'll see you all Tuesday on the Fresh Takes podcast. This is Tank signing off. Peace.